Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Maxine from Maxine's Cakes. Today we're going to give you a tutorial of how to make a vegan cherry coconut and raisin cakes. First of all, it's a good practice to have all your ingredients ready. Have everything nicely weighed out. Like I said, we're going to make a vegan cherry coconut raisin. For this method, we're going to use dry to wet ingredients. So the first thing to do is get all of our dry ingredients ready. We're going to sieve the flour. It's always important to sieve the flour. Even though if it says on a packet it's pre-sifted, always sieve it again. It's always good practice to do that. Alright, okay. So now we're going to add some caster sugar, not granulated, caster sugar. Caster sugar is a lot finer and it's a lot easier when you go to mix. Because we're doing a vegan cake and we're using wet ingredients, we use baking soda and not baking powder. To give your cakes a nice flavour, you want to add some mixed spices to it, and that gives it a nice flavour. There you go. All the ingredients I'm talking about, you can get them in your local supermarket. Right, when you've got all your dry ingredients in a bowl, just gently mix them all together so everything's nicely incorporated, yeah? Just take your time and do it. All right, so just get everything nicely mixed in. Brilliant, brilliant. Right, now we're ready for our wet ingredients. What I've got in the jug is some buttermilk. It's quite easy to make your own buttermilk. All you need is some milk and some fresh lemon juice. Just mix them together and leave for a couple of minutes to let it set. When you're doing a vegan cake, you use oil. I'm using a good quality olive oil. All these ingredients give your cake a nice taste. The next liquid ingredient I'm going to use is our apple cider vinegar. Because we haven't got any eggs or any butter in this cake, this will help give the cake a good rise and a nice lift. To add more flavour to the cake again, you can put a nice essence in here. Today I'm using a vanilla essence. Yeah, like I said, get all these ingredients in your local supermarket. Alright, so you got all your wet ingredients in a bowl, and then give it a nice little mix. Get a fork and just beat it up together, yeah? Just very gently until everything's incorporated. There you go. Just keep beating and beating, alright? So you notice you've got your dry ingredients in one bowl, and you've got all the wet ingredients in the other, yeah? And this type of recipe is the basis for any vegan, or you may know it as an eggless cake. This is what you have to do. Right, so we've got all our wet ingredients, so we're going to add that now into our dry ingredients. When we do this process, you're going to notice some bubbles. Now remember, we use baking soda, so you think of it like a can of Coke or a soda drink. It bubbles. As soon as you open it, it bubbles. So that's what you're going to see, and that's quite normal for you to see these bubbles. All right, so we're going to mix it all in together until everything is nice and smooth. Now, you may notice I'm using a wooden spoon. I'm old school. Yeah, I like to use my wooden spoon. When I teach my classes, I always teach with a wooden spoon. The reason being, I always say to my students, look, if you're doing something late at night and your mixer breaks down, it's not the end of the world. You know, you can take out your wooden spoon and carry on mixing that cake, and it can be done. It may take a bit longer, but it can be done. All right? And remember, you don't need no gym membership. This is a good little workout for you as well. All right? So just mix it until it's nice and smooth. Scrape it from around the side of the bowls and get in there and mix it really nice. Yeah? See, look, it didn't take me too long. All right? So just keep going. Okay, well done. Brilliant. Right. So I'm almost there. Right. So while we've done that, now remember we're making a cherry, coconut and raisin. So I'm now adding my coconut to the mixture. If you want, you can use a fresh coconut. That's not a problem at all. I'm putting some raisins. You can add flour to your raisins. I haven't, but everybody does things differently. And then just gently mix this into your mixture. Oh, you're saying I haven't put in my cherries? Nope, I'm going to do that at the end. Yeah, just mix these in for now. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Brilliant. Well done. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, what we need to do now is preheat the oven. You never put a cake into a cold oven. You always got to preheat it. I'm going to preheat my oven to gas mark 3 or 2. Always bake your cakes in a low heat. If the heat is too high, the cake is not going to cook in the middle, or you may end up burning your cake. Just put it on a low, gentle heat. All right? Right, now we've got to grease our tin. Some people use greaseproof paper. I like to grease my tins. The purpose of this is so your cake doesn't stick. All right, so you can do that. I'm using these types of tins because I sell my cakes, and it's easier for me to do the packaging if I leave them in here. But you can use the tins that you got at home. Right, now we're going to fill our tin. Now always remember, only fill the tin 3/4 of the way. Don't overfill it. What you find would happen, it would overspill in the oven. You have one big mess. If you've got mixture that's left over, just put it into some cupcake cases and make some muffins with it. Right, the last process for this cake is to add the cherries. Now I like to put my cherries on top. If you want to, you can put your cherries in a mixture. But I'm a bit OCD. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to take my time and put my cherries on the top. But you don't need to do this, okay? It's cherry, coconut, and raisin. All right, so you can add your ingredients how you want to add your ingredients at the end. All right, okay. We're almost there. Now, we're going to put the cake in the center of the oven. The reason I put the cake in the center of the oven, you get a nice bake, you get a nice even bake when it's at the center of the oven. This type of cake is quite small. It's a loaf cake. Takes about 40 minutes on gas mark 3 or 2. And there we go. We got a cherry, coconut and raisin cake, all nicely baked. Right, to test your cake, to make sure it's cooked, get a cocktail stick, put it in the middle. If it comes out nice and clean, the cake is done. Or gently press it in the middle. All right. Okay, that's your cherry, coconut and raisin. Okay, I can hear you saying, but Max, you didn't give us the ingredients. You didn't give us the measurements. Listen, if you want to know the measurements, the ingredients, book onto one of my one-to-one sessions with me. My website is maxinescakes.com, or give me a call on 0207 249 4542. This is Maxine's Cakes tutorial, cherry, coconut and raisins.